Hey everyone, new video for you. Today we're interviewing an astrologer, Ellie Adams from Saturn season astrology. And I really want to talk about what makes Ellie stand out. Because you guys know we work together. I have another YouTube channel where we do a lot of forensic astrology videos. So we collaborate and you guys know I sprinkle in a little astrology with tarot readings because, this channel is like all things tarot. So you guys have seen me pull in a little astrology with the tarot and combine it. But Ellie takes astrology to like a whole new level. So I want you guys to meet her and get to know her and hear about all the cool things she has to offer. So that's my intro. Ellie, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Absolutely. I want everyone to get to know you because I love I've learned a lot from you. I really have, because you go into, we talk about all the time, the Galactic Center, and I'm always like, Ellie, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know about this. Like, will you tell us, for those watching, Galactic Center or Galactic Astrology, what is it?
What is it? It's been a massive sometimes I can be the sort of person that can be like a dog with a bone. And that's kind of how I am with this. So I've known about it for years, right? For years and years, but it wasn't until 2021 that I put like on the subreddit, Let's Fuck with Astrology, which I'm one of the moderators, created it, one of the creators of it. Got tired of how the other astrology subreddits were run. So, so anyway, being kind of can do whatever you want there. So I put out a kind of like a call for anybody who happened to have planets conjunct the GC, because I wanted to see if anybody was interested in volunteering as tribute for research purposes. And the number of people that have reached out and still continue to reach out. This post almost 4 years old. I'll still get people reaching out, be like, hey, I saw this. Is this still going on? Just to let you know, it'll probably never be not going on. It's one of those things that I feel like I'll always be learning more about it. And
It's ongoing, as in like every field in astrology.
yes, yeah. And I mean, I'm never like, yeah, every field in astrology, never going to know everything about it, you know? So, but yeah, essentially that's kind of what, I guess it was at that point when I started seeing that, oh my God, people really are interested in this. Like people that have conjunctions to the GC, right? Then, and just for reference, right now, the Galactic Center is at like 27 degrees Sagittarius. When I was born, when you were born, it would have been at 26. But so my focus originally was just on the Galactic Center, planets conjunct the Galactic Center. Then it expanded out to include the Super Galactic Center and the Galactic Anti-Center, which is something nobody really ever talks about, but I think is really important. Anti-Center is opposite the Galactic Center. Super Galactic Center right now is at 2 degrees Libra. Then whatever the hell opposes the Super Galactic Center, which is blank space, what I'm calling blank space, at 2 degrees Aries, kind of forming this whole galactic grand cross. So that was sort of like that's what I ended up calling it. I ended up making a whole new questionnaire calling it the Galactic Grand Cross. So it just has kind of branched off into all of these galactic points. And then also the attractors. There's the Shapley attractor at 2 degrees Scorpio. There is the Great Attractor at 13 degrees Sagittarius. There is the Dipole Repeller at 2 degrees Taurus. So it's just kind of gone off into all
It's
of
expanded.
yes,
Yeah.
it's expanded, and people have like it's interesting. People that are aware of this, or they become aware of this, and they become aware that they have something going on at one of those places.
Meaning like they have planets there,
Yes,
or I don't know,
yes.
house cusps a thing on these points? Like,
Um, Now the ascendant would be the major, like the ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC. All
gotcha.
yes, absolutely. I don't know about house. I haven't. I mean, okay, I do. Let me just also throw this out there. I do think the GC is important, and other galactic points, regardless of if you've got something conjuncted. But my area of focus has been the conjunctions,
Mhm.
because I do think if you got a planet conjunct one of these, it probably comes, out even more.
Right, right. So really people could come to you for like a natal chart reading, and are you gonna give them information about
Oh,
that, or is this a specific reading?
well, let me just say, if you If you come to me for something, no, I will, I don't want to, I want to make this palatable. I want to make this understandable. And if you are somebody who's never had a reading before, I may or may not bring it up if I notice something, if I feel like it's going to overwhelm, which, because I don't want a reading to be overwhelmed. Like,
And I
you know
find
what
that in astrology, like, right, like you give the client what they need, or what they can handle, or yeah, because it can get, there's a lot, with astrology.
Yeah, and it's kind of a sense I get from you. Like if I get the sense that, okay, if I start diving into this, it's gonna be overwhelming. I might not. I might, or if I feel like I'm kind of on the fence about it, I might ask, I might be like, are you aware what this is? And are you aware that you have some conjunctions to it, or whatever? And if they, seem interested, okay. Because I will say this, if I see you've got conjunctions to it, I want to mention it to these different, I want to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be interesting for people to know for sure, because it's and it probably means something different for everyone, but are you able to say just generally, hey, if you got planets here, this means
Okay,
generally this?
I'll say this. If you've got planets conjunct, let's just say the Galactic Center, we'll go with that. That planet, okay, I do have a theory that if it does, okay, because the Galactic Center, black hole, warps time and space. I do think it can kind of turn planets retrograde. Now, that does not mean that I think of them as it's not like I see, like, I don't know, like I've got Venus there, right? So it's not like I'm looking at my Venus and going, oh, my Venus is now retrograde. No, it's not like that. It's more like but there is a retrograde flavor to it. So I will, and that is something that isn't just me pulling that out of my ass. It's something that through talking with people that have wanted to share through the research, whatever, this does seem to be the way that I noticed that people started talking about the planets that they had conjunct the GC in a very similar way that people would talk about that planet being retrograde.
That's interesting. And that might, for a lot of people, explain a lot. Because how many times do people come to you and like, I got this planet in this sign and it doesn't make sense for me. Like this might explain a lot, right?
Yes, it does. I have to say the galactic stuff, people, this may not be the wording that they use, but in some way they kind of allude to the fact that knowing about their planets conjunct some sort of galactic point is very validating to them. It validates their experience. It's another layer that astrology, what's usually used, does not on its own. It's just another layer to make it make even more sense.
Right.
I'll put it. Then that is, I mean, even last night I got an email from somebody wanting to be part of the research, and I'm using the term validated here because that's what they said in the email, but that is not a specific thing to them. This is something that has been said in some kind of way by multiple people over the course of this research.
Right. It tends to be like a general response or feedback, right? Or
yes. Another thing I think the GC kind of functions like as an out of balance planet. So it can kind of, and out of balance planets, they can kind of do what they want. And I think
they're the rebels, right?
Yeah, and they can use that for, the good or the bad, right? But I do feel like they're the planets that happen to be there, similar sort of functioning.
Interesting. And you brought up, okay, so you're like, it kind of gives a retrograde taste to these planets. You're also really specialize in retrogrades as well within a chart, like aside from Galactic Center, just retrograde planets is your jam.
I love them. I love them. And I go to bat for them. I do. I will always go to bat for them. I think that they are so often so misunderstood. Or so, and I mean, and I know you know this, like, people, they tend to have such a negative, such a negative, and they're different. They're different. They function different. They have to function different. If they try to function like a direct planet, like a Saturn retrograde, a person with Saturn retrograde in their natal chart, they're trying to function that like a Saturn direct person, it is going to be difficult.
Right. You got to go with your energy, right? And what your
exactly
your makeup, like I call it. And a lot of people know about like Mercury retrograde. That's like the popular, because we hear about, because it retrogrades 3 or 4 times a year. So we hear about it. But it'd be really nice for people to hear more about like these other planets that are retrograde in charts, because we all have a lot of
Yes.
retrograde, or at least some, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There are. Yeah. I mean, most people have one, have at least one.
Yeah.
That does happen where you might be born when
There's
everything
a
is.
short times where it's like there's no planets retrograde.
Yeah.
It's like days, not weeks. But yeah, but I would say most people
There's
tend.
something Pluto retrograde, or Neptune, something oftentimes is. And there's also, the Mercury, the thing you bring up about Mercury retrograde, people knowing that, they do know that, right? And from a collective standpoint, it can fuck with technology. It can, it can fuck with communication, right? But in a natal chart, it's not trying to tell you that it's not trying to say that your communication is fucked. It's trying to tell you you need to communicate differently. The communication
Yeah.
is different. And that's okay. Like, that is okay. There is a huge difference between how these things are read in a collective sense versus how. And I think that's sometimes where that fear comes in,
Yeah.
that are collectively very valid to bring up. Maybe maybe shouldn't be read the same way in a natal chart.
Yeah, great point. And I feel like that's just validating for people as well, just kind of knowing, oh, it's not me. It's this planet works a little differently, and I have to, and that's where they can come to you and learn how to use that planet in a different way. That's more beneficial.
Yeah, I had one person, this was a while back, tell me that they had always been told their Mars retrograde was lazy. And
Oh,
essentially there wasn't anything they could do about it. And I'm like, okay, well, how fucking negative, first
that
of
was like a pop
all.
astrology.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck who you paid to tell you that. That's awful, though. That is so like, how's that helpful? Mars retrograde is gonna need to be driven to what it's actually driven to
Mhm.
do. If it's forced to do be driven towards a bunch of shit it doesn't care about, it's gonna have a harder time doing that. So it needs to really focus on what it is driven towards, right? The person really
Right.
needs
More focus, not as like a general energy, right?
yeah. Yeah. But it does, I just want to throw that out there. Also, your Mars retrograde does not make you lazy.
Yeah.
Not,
PS astrological PSA. Your
yeah,
Mars
seriously.
retrograde does not make you lazy.
Yeah, it doesn't, because like, yeah, I'm thinking, damn, somebody told you that? That's fucked up.
Yeah, and I've heard that in person from clients where they are told certain things, and it's like, oh gosh. It's like, then you got to spend the session like kind of undoing it sometimes, like, no, that's not right. And so I think it'd be fabulous for people to come to you to get a better understanding of these things, because you really do specialize and have these really specific niches that are just really refreshing, that you're not going to find with a lot of astrologers. You're not going to find on TikTok, and I'm not putting down TikTok, but you know what I mean. Like, this is the good stuff.
Well, I appreciate that.
This is
I
the good
appreciate
stuff.
Another thing, I'll throw this out there. Another thing, because we didn't talk about this before. Another thing that I really love doing, I love doing readings that involve the north and south nodes, Pluto and the Pluto polarity point, aspects to the nodes and to Pluto and the Pluto polarity point. I also love doing stuff with the Draconic chart.
That's right. I remember the first day I met you, we met at a quote psychic fair.
And you were like, "Are you a Scorpio?"
Yeah, Gemini over here. I just blurt stuff out.
I think I seemed really intense or something, probably in that.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
No, that's funny. I was like, what?
Listen, my descendants in Scorpio. I'm married to a Scorpio. My daughter. I know Scorpio energy, and there's some. Yeah, I meant it in a very loving way.
I know. I'll always remember that, like, being like, what? Like,
it was great though. Like, two astrologers, and of course I was there doing like tarot readings, but we're seated next to each other, and it's like, you were talking about draconic charts. I'm like criminal astrology, and like, it was just like so.
It really was. Yeah,
so,
it was.
But I remember that's the first, like, I had never heard of that either until I met you.
And I didn't know about the crime stuff.
Astrologers get together, share info.
Yeah. I didn't know people did this. I really wasn't, not that, but like we usually do that.
Right.
I didn't realize that people were looking at crimes like this. I kind of felt like I'd lived under a damn rock.
And see, I feel like I live under a rock, like this Galactic Center, Draconic Astrology. I was like, what? Yeah. So tell us if you can, like a little bit about that as well. Is this a specific kind of reading? Like, I know I'm acting like I don't know anything. I'm just so my viewers know.
Well, generally, yeah. I mean, so I do some, okay, and I do readings a few ways. I can do them a few ways. I can do them in a written report.
That is gold, people.
Yeah,
that
and
is gold.
This is not an AI generated. I want to make that very clear. This is not
this
AI
is Ellie, and I know because I know Ellie. This is Ellie in a notebook and midnight or day.
And then typing it up. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there because there is so much. I've had people before reach out wanting me to do a written report, but they were like, is this going to be something that's just from a program? Is this going to be something that you
generated just generated?
No, the only thing that'll be the same in every single report is my description of the houses. That is it. And I mean, not the description of the houses in your chart, just what areas of life the houses represent.
Like the background info, like first house is this.
Yes.
That is gold. Because I got to tell you, I've had people, can you do a write-up? And I'm like, no. Because it's intense. And you really have that gift of being able to do that. So if you guys come to me and are like, I need a write-up, I'm sending you Ellie's way, because it's like, that is an amazing thing to have, a personalized written report.
I've been told that from people that have had them. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn.
Toot your horn, Ellie.
But I've been told that they're very special. Because they are there, and I'll, I can make them, I can get really wordy. They can be long, but if you want me to cap it at a certain amount, I can do that too. But I do these, the specific reading. I'll say this specific reading is actually one that I recommend. The one about with the nodal axis, Pluto and the Pluto polarity point, and then the Draconic. I actually recommend this one written, just because, I just do. I recommend it written. It's really the only one that I would say you should have it written. And if you don't want to have it written, I also do calls on Zoom, face-to-face.
This is another thing. You do like recording readings. Yes. And let me explain, like, yeah, you do the live one-on-one calls. But you also, for people who maybe don't want to be engaged on the call, maybe they're busy or what have you. Yeah, maybe you're shy. There are some people who don't like to be on the meetings and all that. You will sit there and like record it, like a video recording, and send to them without them having to be engaged on a live call.
Yes, I started offering this. I started offering this because I started getting a lot of, it was a few clients, but they wanted a lot of work done, and they were overseas, overseas where we have like a 12-hour difference. And, I'm more than happy to work with you as far as the time difference if you want to be on a call. But they were kind of like, no. Can you just do it like this? I'll give you my questions. You do it like this. And then if I have any other questions, I can, or any questions about what you say, will you, I can, can I reach out? And I'm thinking, this is great for people that are shy, for people where there is a time difference, for people that don't want to read it, but they also aren't able to actually have a Zoom call. So yeah, I offer them like that. I'm more than happy to do a reading.
And that's really nice because, astrology, it can get personal. And so it kind of adds a layer of comfort for some as well. If it's like, yeah, tell me what you see, but just send it to me, and let me kind of be in my own private moment receiving the information.
And speaking on that, it can get very personal. I've been told that they can be a little bit like a therapy session. I'm not a therapist, but yeah, they can be a little bit like a therapy session. And I do take the approach of first do no harm.
Yeah.
Like if I'll ask if I feel like there's something I want to touch on that I'm not 100% sure that you want to, or you're ready to, or I will always ask. If there is something that you don't want to touch on, I will back the fuck off.
She will honor that request.
Yeah, I certainly don't want it to be a traumatic experience for you, or cause more trauma. That's absolutely not what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I absolutely trust anyone in your care because I know Ellie, and she does come to the session with enthusiasm, with compassion. And yeah, and so I really feel like anyone come to you, it's going to be a comfortable experience, and you're going to meet them at their comfort level. And yeah, where can people, I know you're at Saturn season, where can they book the readings online? How's your booking work?
Okay, so my booking, what you do is you go to the services on saturnseason.com. There's a services tab. You go there. Now, rather than book, because I do readings a bunch of different ways, right? Some are reports, some are, I just email what you want to you. Some are, we actually are face-to-face. I don't actually have a booking system or software. I tried it for a little, it was too much. It was too confusing because of the different ways that I offer things. So what you do is you pay for it, pay for what you want. I will get the email that you paid. I will be in touch with you within 24 hours. Usually it's faster than that because I realize if you paid for something, you want another person, right? I get it. I'm not gonna fuck around with your money. I want to make sure that you know that I received it, and I want you to feel like, okay, this person isn't gonna rip me off, because I don't want anybody to feel like that. So so I will be in touch with you within 24 hours to set something up, or to let you know how soon I can have the report finished, or let you know how soon I can have the video emailed.
There is open communication here.
Yes, there is open communication. And always, if you a lot of people, I will say this, right after they do that, they'll email me to let me know, hey, I did this. And that's great. You can do that. Feel free to email me beforehand if you have any questions about anything I offer, because I very much want the experience to be what you want, how you want it to be. I may not always say everything you want me to say, but I want the experience. I want to do for you what you're wanting me to do. So I'm willing to tailor things to what you want, as far as, specifications or whatever, house system, whatever it might, I'm happy to, to
accommodate.
To accommodate.
So they go to your website, they pay, you will reach out to them, or they're welcome to email you.
Yeah. And my email is ellie@saturnseason.com. If you have any questions, about anything too.
Yeah. And I'm going to link all this in the description. So if you're like, hey, where do I find Ellie? What was her email? Read the description. I'm going to have it linked there so that you guys can find her. I highly recommend get a reading with Ellie. Get it either written, get it recorded, do a one-on-one, do all three if you want, but it's good stuff.
And I have, and just also to throw this out there, on my website, I do have an example of my written reports, so you could see what you'll have an idea of what you'd be getting. And if you say, I have had people before look at those and they're like, can I have something a little bit simplified? Like maybe there's just too much there. I can do that.
And that's totally okay to make that request, like, yeah, hey, I need simple, or
no, yeah, there's no judgment from me there. Whatever you need, I'm willing to meet you where you are.
And it's also good because I always say, like, astrology is perfect in layers. And when, with astrology students and everything, I always say, just learn in layers, learn the planets, learn the signs, but so what they could do essentially too is get layers with you, like, give me a simplified, okay, I have this, now let me come back and get a little bit more. I mean, so you guys could, I want all my clients to know you could get multiple sessions here to get added information.
Or even just, also throw, I do teach.
Yes. Astrology class. So are those, let's touch on that real fast. Are these ongoing classes, or do you offer them every so often? Where are we at with class options?
Class options. Okay, so I do
have learning options, whatever you have.
Yeah. Well, I do offer private lessons, which I do have some students that do that, and they'd rather just do it when they want to do it. Sometimes it's ongoing. Sometimes it's like 1 month they'll want to have a couple lessons, and the next month they'll want to have like one. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that. Again, I want to meet you where you are and make it understandable. So however that's best for you, I can make that work. I also do offer like full courses though. Like I just finished the fundamentals of chart weaving, which is the 16-week course that goes through all the things that I feel like are very important in reading a chart. I can't promise that you'll know that you will be a proficient reader by the end of it, because this is something that takes years and years and years of learning, right? I'm not going to jive you and be like, after 16 weeks, you're going to, I'm not going to do that. But I can tell you that everything I give you in this course, as long as you practice, keep working, you will have everything you need to know how to read a chart.
So they'll get the resources, and it's like
Absolutely.
you learn
Absolutely.
the resources, you learn the basics, keep using it, and
Yes.
it'll come into play.
I can promise you that. I can promise you that. As much as actually work with it as a whole, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But yes, I certainly provide what you need, and I'm there helping you learn, supporting you as you're learning it. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know anyone else who does one-on-one astrology private let. So that's gold as well. Everything's gold with Ellie. No, that's another rare thing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, well, Ellie, thank you for allowing me to interview you, allowing everyone to meet you, and
Wanting to
this
do
was
that.
fun.
And you're very good at interviewing too. Just wanted to
Gosh,
throw that there.
I think this is the second interview I've done in my life. But
Very good.
me and Ellie, great friends.
Yeah.
We just know how to talk.
I'm saying that because when I did yours, you were like, "Oh, you're so good at this. So are you." Like what the like what the hell? So are you.
Oh, thank you. This has been fun. It's been an honor to have you here and talk to everybody. And if you guys have questions, again, go to the description. I'll have Ellie's email. I'll have her website. You guys feel free to reach out to her, ask what you got, and she'll direct you from there.
Yes, I will.
All right. Well, thank you, Ellie. We'll talk soon.